Hey everyone, welcome to Mountain Beast Mysteries. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a very creepy encounter that happened to four kids back in August of 1974 in the state of Washington. This happened at a place called Gold Basin. It's a campground, out in the remote wilderness, and the nearest town is a place called Granite Falls. So this is a really crazy encounter that involves, some sort of creature that reeks like with that typical Sasquatch smell, and it approaches these kids who are sleeping under a tarp while a couple parents are sleeping in a camper nearby. And this thing approaches these kids from across a river and is like constantly screaming and shrieking as it makes its way closer. Scares the crap out of these kids. A very interesting and terrifying encounter that I thought was great and I thought I would share with you guys. So what I'm going to do now is just go over the encounter for you guys so you can hear what happened on that terrifying night back in August of 1974. In August of 1974, I and my three friends Tom, Byron, and Jay went camping with the parents who slept inside their camper while we slept on the ground with a plastic tarp draped over us. It had been raining the day before. Around 2 a.m., I was awakened by an eerie screaming. It sounded like a woman was being murdered, and it freaked me out. The screaming was across the Stillaguamish River, which was about 50 meters from where we slept and into the forest on the other side. Across the river was a steep incline into the rustic forest, and beyond that was nothing but wilderness all the way into Canada. The screaming became louder and louder as the thing that was screaming was getting closer. I heard it walking down the steep hill on the other side of the river, and then I heard it walk up and down the other side of the river, screaming all the more. It was very loud and very scary. It gave me the impression that it was angry at us for being in its area, and it wanted us out. That was my impression. I was scared to death and I did not know what to do. Then suddenly the thing walked across the river towards me. It came to my side of the river and began to walk up and down the riverbank, screaming all the louder. Then it stepped on a fallen tree that was on the riverbank, and I heard a snap as the weight of the thing broke the log as it stepped on it. Then the thing walked up to me and my friends and came within 10 feet of us and screamed some more. I thought it was going to kill us. Then I noticed the terrible odor that this thing had. It was overwhelming. It was so strong it made my eyes water. I was petrified. I was too scared to move, to speak, to do anything. I really thought it was going to kill me. It was lasting forever. This thing was standing over top of me, screaming, smelling horrible, and scaring me to death. Then he started to simply walk away. It went back into the river and walked across it to the other side. Then it climbed up the steep hill and into the forest, screaming all the time. The screams became farther and farther away. When it was a good distance away, I started to believe that it wasn't going to kill me. I then asked my friends, Tom, Byron, Jay, did you guys hear that? They all three jumped up and yelled at me. Yes, what the hell was that? It seemed like they were just as terrified as I was, and they were frozen stiff with fear. The entire episode lasted for approximately 25 minutes. What did I see? I saw nothing because it was pitch black and dark. I heard and smelled everything. It was as real as it could possibly have been, and we are convinced that it was some kind of monster. It walked on two legs just like a human. I've been shot at, artillery shelled, shot at by snipers. I've had a hand grenade tossed at me, survived an ambush and IEDs while in combat. I've been attacked by a 12-foot shark while scuba diving. I've been face to face with 3 adult man-eating lions that were pets of Saddam Hussein's son. Nothing can compare with the fear that I felt on that day. It lasted so long. I have never heard of anyone having an exposure to Bigfoot as long as this was. The odor was overpowering. It made my eyes water, it was so strong. This thing was less than 10 feet from me. So what do you guys think of that encounter? It's pretty interesting, right? Now, it is described that the parents were actually asked later on by the kids about the screaming, and they just completely blew them off and didn't talk about it at all, like it never happened. So I wonder if they actually heard it and like knew what was going on, but they didn't want to scare the kids, or if they just didn't want to believe, what was actually going on. But they didn't say anything and didn't tell the kids, that a Sasquatch was around or anything crazy like that. So it's kind of an interesting element to the story. And, it is interesting that all 4 kids, saw it and heard it and, smelt it. It's not just one kid seeing it, witnessing it, and smelling it. It's all 4 of them. So he wasn't just dreaming it or making it up in his mind. It's a group encounter with multiple witnesses. The one thing I do find kind of interesting, though, is that there's no mention of any footprints being found in the area afterwards. You would suspect that if this creature was walking across a river and up and down a river and right up to the kids' camp, that there would be some sort of evidence of that, some sort of tracks. And there's no mention of there being tracks found in the area, but maybe, in the morning they didn't have the thought of even looking for that. They are just kids, so I guess you can't really expect them to go out looking for tracks and trying to track this thing down like you would if you were an adult. But I would suspect, if a Sasquatch-sized creature and something of immense weight would be walking through there, I suspect there would be tracks of some kind, especially along a waterway where the ground might be a little bit softer. And another typical example of that Sasquatch smell, we've been hearing about it a lot in these reports I've been going over. The majority of them describe this putrid smell. And so when you're out in the wilderness and you're walking along and you smell this, there's a good chance that you could be about to have a Sasquatch encounter. So keep that in mind. The kid who describes the encounter describes a feeling like he's about to die. Like he didn't think he was going to make it out of there. And it's creepy to think that with these kids just lying there under a tarp, this thing could have taken them, or at least a few of them, and they would have been missing 411 stories. It approached them for some reason, screaming and shrieking, and it appears that it just wanted these people out of there. It's trying to scare them away. It's an intimidation thing. It didn't do anything to the kids. It didn't throw any rocks at them or do anything like that. It was just screaming. And I'll tell you what, if I was by myself and this happened, I'd be out of there. Like, I wouldn't even pack my stuff up. I would just get in the vehicle and leave, especially if it came within 10 feet. It's pretty terrifying. So they are lucky that they didn't turn into missing 411 stories, and they were able to tell the story of the encounter. And, just all around a very interesting, spooky tale to tell around the campfire. It's an old encounter. Back in 1974, Bigfoot was, extremely popular. This is not too long after the Patterson-Gimlin film came out, and cinemas were being flooded with, all kinds of low-budget Bigfoot films and documentaries, and that stuff was just really big in this time. Like I said before, it's not like the one kid, maybe he was watching Bigfoot documentaries or had an interest in the subject and he just dreamt it because all the kids witnessed it. So, I don't know, what do you guys think about it? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think it's a legitimate story, or do you think it was made up by the kids? Tell me what you think. If you want to support Mountain Beast Mysteries, you can do so using the GoFundMe link down in the video description. Every donation helps keep the channel going and helps the process of creating content for you guys on a regular basis. Thanks for watching this video, guys. We'll see you next time on Mountain Beast Mysteries.